G'day guys, welcome back to another episode. In this one, we're actually in the kitchen. We've been down to Mandurah and had a great couple of days down there catching blue manna crabs. So for this one, we're gonna make a blue manna linguine. It's one of my favorite things to order at a restaurant. It's rare that I actually get to find it, but it is something that I really enjoy eating. Okay, so that's the finished product there. You can tell it's cooked nice and orangey red. To get to that stage, it's boiled water, salt in that water as well. Now, the way we cook them is once that water is boiled, crabs go in, we put the lid back on to keep that steam and everything really bubbling and boiling in there, and after 5 minutes, take them out and they're spot on and ready to eat. Now, obviously, they can go like that, but today we're going to clean these up a bit, get all the meat out and put it into this pasta. So let's go about that. Nice easy way to go about it is taking that carapace off the back. That's where all the gunk and bits and pieces are. You've got your gills and bits and pieces in there as well. But once you sort of move away from that, that's where you can get into some of the nice meat. We'll also get some meat out of the claws as well. You also always need something decent to put all the rubbish to, so I find newspapers pretty easy for that. But really, breaking these into half and then a quarter again like that, you can get into this meat pretty easy. And I'm just going to put it straight into a bowl. That'll be easy to use later on. That took about 10 minutes or so. It's not a recipe if you're a little bit worried about getting your hands dirty. There's a bit of gunk and stuff that comes out of the crabs as you go through, but you are looking to get rid of all that stuff from the gills and really focusing on the meat and also getting out of the claws in particular. You can get quite a lot there. We are left, that was 4 crabs, and you're left with a nice amount there. It's probably about 300 grams. The main ingredients for this, there isn't many, it's quite an easy pasta, but we need cherry tomatoes, chili, garlic and some basil, and then there's a few other bits and pieces that we'll chuck in along the way. Now, I've just chucked the water on for the pasta. I'm on induction here. It takes a very long time to get anything going on that. So the water's on, we'll get that bubbling away, and while that's happening, we'll cut some of these veggies up. Now, I've said this before, I'm not a chef and I cook to enjoy it, so I always cut everything up in advance and then I cook it all after that. So the first thing we're gonna do is chop up some cherry tomatoes, and we're just gonna chop them straight in half. You can actually cook this linguine in 2 different ways. As you saw, I've already pre-cooked the crab, and I have then shelled them and got all the meat out. So that means that the crab's only going to go in right at the very end. It would be just really to warm it up because it is already cooked. The other way to do this one would be to shell the crab raw. I just find it's a little bit hard to do that raw. So you could be putting that raw crab in at the stage where you put the cream in and just let it sort of cook away in that for about sort of 5 minutes or so. But in this recipe, you are going to see the crab go in at the end. All right, we've got our cherry tomatoes. Let's get on to our chili. I like chili, so there's a fair bit going in. Go for about 2/3. I don't mind the seeds as well, so they're going in. And we'll just chop that up nice and fine. All right, so I'm going to put all this into the same bowl because that's all going to go in together. So the tomato, the chili and the garlic will go together. Now I'm sorry that I'm cooking in fairly dark conditions here as well, but when I put the light on, it made the GoPro go really sort of funny. So I don't want a weird picture coming across to you guys. So hopefully we can get this done before it does get too dark. All right, my mincer seems to have gone missing. So what we'll do instead is crush it up and finally cut it. Okay, that water is boiling. Let's chuck in the pasta. Just go on the good old San Remo. This is a 500 gram pack. If I can open it. Try the other end, it's got the kids lock on it. All right, we've got it. So 500 gram pack. I'm gonna go for about 2/3, so around about 300 grams, and we'll chuck that straight in. Okay, so we're heating up that pan. I'm gonna put plenty of olive oil in. We're waiting for that olive oil to heat up. Just gonna give the pasta just a little bit of a stir. That's heated up. First thing that we're gonna do is the chili, tomato and garlic is going into the pan. Keep giving that a bit of a stir around. Just going to cook that off for about a minute. Keep giving that a bit of a stir. You can see that the tomato is really starting to soften up. There's a great aroma coming from the garlic and the chili as well. The next step is to add the cream. This is just everyday cooking cream for pasta. This is a 300ml pack. So I'm going to put in about half of that. We want 150 ml-ish going in. And let's give that a bit of a stir around as well. Okay, I'm just going to turn that heat down a little bit. Okay, in goes that crab meat that we've pre-prepared. Let's stir that through a little bit. Now, as I said, this is already cooked, so it's not going to need anywhere near as long to make sure that the crab is cooked. For this process, we're just warming it through that cream. So when we add the pasta, I'm just going to do it with tongs to make sure we don't end up with too much in there. So just add a bit, stir it through, and see what that's looking like. And here you just want to make sure as well that that cream's not catching on the bottom. So make sure your heat's not too high. That's looking pretty good. Might just add tiny bit more pasta. So for this batch, because you never exactly know how much meat you're sort of getting from the crabs, but with this batch, probably used about 250 grams of that pasta, so around about half. Okay, let's get some salt and pepper into that. Nice big crack. A bit low on the pepper here as well. Nice big crack of salt. Nice big crack in there of our pepper as well. Ooh. Stir that through. Alright, let's turn the heat off and we'll add a little bit of basil in and we're all finished. And with the basil, it's just about adding a few leaves in. Okay, let's plate up. Nice big whack of pasta. Make sure we've got some cherry tomatoes in there as well. Okay, so there it is, my blue nana or blue swimmer crab linguine. Very easy, very few ingredients, and while shelling the crabs does take a little bit of time, around about that 10-minute mark, the result, how quickly you can come up with this pasta, it's very easy and it's a great one to make. Thanks so much for watching. Please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It definitely does help us out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.